The courtroom is hushed, every whisper swallowed by the oppressive silence. Only the low hum of the air conditioner cuts through the tension, and the frantic scratching of pens echoes like a nervous heartbeat. At the center sits Kody Brown, jaw tight, eyes darting from wife to wife. Christine, Robin, Janelle, Mary, the women bound to him not just by vows, but now by the weight of truth. Christine leans forward, her voice sharp and cutting. "You always said family is everything. So Kody, what do you call this?" Her words slice through the stillness like shards of glass. The room leans in, collectively holding its breath, craving an answer that never comes. If you've ever wondered what it looks like when a family unravels on national television, brace yourself. The Sister Wives saga is about to reach a new level of shock. Before we go further, tell me, who do you think will deliver the most explosive testimony? Robin, Christine, Janelle, or Mary? The judge's gavel falls like rolling thunder, signaling the start of a trial already dominating headlines from Vegas to Salt Lake City. Kody sits stiffly, attorney whispering frantic reassurances, but his gaze remains locked on Christine, her lips pressed together, knuckles tight around the witness stand. Robin sits beside him, mascara streaked, tissue crumpled in her hand. Janelle and Mary avoid each other's eyes, the tension palpable. The gallery is packed, reporters, former church members, neighbors, all leaning forward to witness a family once idolized, now teetering on the edge of collapse. The bailiff calls Christine to the stand. She rises, shoulders trembling, but her expression is steel beneath the surface. The smiling wife America once knew is gone. He moved money without telling us. Lied for years. Her words drop like stones. Kody's hands grip the table as if bracing against a storm. The judge's eyes probe icy and unrelenting. Christine's attorney interjects. "Mrs. Brown, do you have proof of these accounts?" A pregnant pause. Christine reaches into her purse and slides a thick envelope across the table. Kody's eyes widen just enough to catch the cameras. "I do. Every transaction, every deception." Gasps ripple through the courtroom. Robin breaks down. Even the judge falters for a moment. But this is just the beginning. Kody's attorney protests, voice trembling. "Your Honor, this is an ambush." "Overruled," the judge snaps. "We will review the documents. Mr. Brown, you will have your chance to respond." Kody nods stiffly, but his mind races. Who betrayed him? How did Christine uncover the accounts he thought were buried forever? Janelle exchanges a glance with Mary, a mixture of guilt and sorrow. Robin trembles silently, whispering prayers under her breath. Christine, however, stands taller with each second, exuding calm confidence that the room can feel like an electric charge. The judge asks, "Mrs. Brown, were any other wives aware of these financial movements?" "Not at first," Christine answers, eyes meeting Janelle's. "But in this family, secrets never stay hidden." Session 1 intensifies. Christine's revelations strip away the carefully crafted public image of the Browns. Janelle steps up next, clutching a notebook filled with bills, receipts, and red marks of betrayal. "I discovered it months ago," she admits, voice shaking but growing stronger. "Kody told me it was for family business. But when I pressed him, he exploded. I kept records in case something like this happened." Mary's testimony follows, quiet yet shattering. She describes hidden transfers, forged signatures, funds spent without explanation, her voice trembling as she recounts years of deception. Kody protests, but the gavel slams him silent. Robin sits broken, unable to look at him. Every revelation ignites the room. The gallery whispers, cameras click, and the world outside the courtroom erupts online. Twitter burns with hashtags. Your Sister Wives trial, your Brown family breakdown, your Kody exposed. As lunch recess is called, tension remains thick. Christine, Mary, and Janelle huddle together, solidarity forming a quiet power. Robin stands alone, gripping her tissue like a lifeline. Kody paces like a caged animal, eyes darting for allies but finding only disappointment. When the court resumes, the next witness steps forward. A court-appointed financial investigator, meticulous and precise, ready to detail every irregularity discovered in the Brown accounts. The courtroom braces for revelations that will shatter what little remains of the family's fragile facade. Fragile facade. The courtroom air feels thick, almost suffocating. Every breath catches as the financial investigator lays bare the full scope of betrayal. Some under pseudonyms, some funneled through shell companies, she says, her tone measured but undeniable. The total over the last 4 years? Almost $500,000. A collective gasp ripples through the room. Even Kody pales, lips parted, frozen as the reality hits him like a freight train. Christine leans forward, disbelief etched on her face while Mary buries her eyes in her lap, mortified that her name has been dragged into this tangled web. Robin trembles, hands clasped over her mouth as if clinging to the last vestige of belief she has left. The investigator flips to a spreadsheet, pointing to withdrawals and signatures. These were approved partly by Mr. Brown, and partly, she glances at Mary, signatures we've confirmed are forged. Cameras flash. Whispers erupt. Shock hangs heavier than the stale courtroom air. This is only the beginning, the investigator continues. Late-night ATM withdrawals from out-of-state machines, deposits into a Nevada property management company, regular payments to a consulting firm with only a P.O. box. Janelle's jaw slackens. Is that why we couldn't even buy groceries last Christmas? She whispers. Christine's eyes burn with fury. Mary's hands shake, and Robin's frame quivers with a betrayal she's only just begun to comprehend. The investigator closes her binder with a soft click. In my professional opinion, these transactions indicate a record of deception and possible criminal activity. Kody sits defeated, slumped, muttering under his breath in a language only his attorney can decode. The gallery is silent, but the tension is electric, a storm waiting to break. Then the courtroom doors swing open. Anna, a longtime family friend and confidant, steps forward. Known to viewers as the voice of reason in past seasons, her face is gaunt but determined. I wasn't going to get involved, she begins, trembling slightly. But I couldn't stay silent anymore. I've seen and heard things that made me question everything I believed about Kody and this family. She recounts late-night phone calls, desperate texts, whispered confessions from the wives, and uncomfortable dinners where Kody's paranoia and secrecy grew. Robin's buried face peeks up, tears streaming. Christine clutches a tissue, Janelle sets her jaw, and Mary openly sobs. Anna's voice cracks as she admits, I was afraid. He threatened me. I feared for my family. The room is taut with suspense, but there is no closure yet. The next revelation arrives via digital evidence. Texts and emails between Kody and a mysterious business partner, plotting to move funds behind the other wives' backs. The courtroom is stunned. Christine's jaw drops. Janelle shakes her head. Mary's grief shifts into rage. Robin finally understands the manipulation she endured. Kody sits frozen, his confident patriarch facade shattered. The judge declares the next day's session will hear personal statements from every wife. No interruptions, no objections. Outside, media frenzy erupts. News trucks, camera crews, fans with signs, and the internet ablaze with speculation. Inside, the Browns are fractured, quiet, processing the revelations that threaten to unravel everything. Dawn breaks. The sky is bruised and heavy as the wives enter the courtroom. Christine takes the lead, voice firm, recounting decades of sacrifice, betrayal, and shattered trust. Her eyes pierce Kody as she speaks of the small betrayals that grew into monumental deceit, exposing a man transformed by power and control. Janelle follows, her voice rasped with years of hidden pain, revealing the cost of living under manipulation, the desperation of guarding herself and her children, and the truth behind her silence. Every word hits like a hammer, breaking the illusions of loyalty, exposing a family fractured by greed and secrecy. Mary rises next, fragile yet resolute, confessing the betrayal of trust she endured, the loss of her voice, and the stolen agency of a woman trapped by silence. The courtroom collectively holds its breath as raw humanity fills the space, a tableau of heartbreak and honesty. Finally, Robin steps forward. Shaking but fiercely determined, she speaks of loyalty twisted into complicity, of love exploited and faith betrayed. I forgive you, Kody. But I cannot continue with you, she whispers. Her words hang in the air, absolute, irreversible. Kody remains motionless, lost in the shadows of his own machinations as the weight of his empire of secrets collapses around him. The courtroom air is thick with anticipation, almost suffocating. Every whispered conversation stops as the judge raises her gavel. Silence descends like a heavy fog, punctuated only by the soft shuffle of papers and the occasional click of a camera from the press gallery. The judge, her eyes scanning the room, allows the weight of the moment to settle before speaking. Thank you all for your patience, she begins, her voice measured, deliberate. Now, Mr. Brown, you may respond. Kody rises slowly, shoulders hunched, his movements uneven as if gravity itself has shifted. His eyes dart nervously, seeking any sign of reprieve from the wives, but none of them meet his gaze. He swallows hard, trying to summon the words that might save him, but each syllable comes out labored, forced. I did try to give you everything, he begins, his voice cracking under pressure. I thought I knew what was best. I know I messed up. I never meant to hurt you. He pauses, the room hanging on each strained word. I don't know how to make this right. Maybe I can't ever, but I want you to know, I'm sorry. No one responds. The wives remain statuesque, silent sentinels of judgment. For the first time, the arrogance, the rage, the carefully constructed patriarchal mask is gone. All that remains is a man exposed, stripped bare before the weight of decades of betrayal and secrecy. The judge nods slightly, her voice soft yet firm. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Court will reconvene tomorrow for closing arguments and final testimony. The family files out slowly. Some together, some apart, each step weighted with unspoken thoughts. Outside, the media swarms. Phones flash. Social feeds erupt with speculation, anger, and support. But inside, amid the chaos, the wives find a fragile unity. Though battered, they cling to one another. Old wounds reopened, yet in their shared pain, a newfound strength emerges. Kody, meanwhile, walks alone, the walls of his own making closing in. And perhaps for the first time, he begins to comprehend that truth, not control, holds the power to free or destroy. The next morning, dark clouds loom over the courthouse, an ominous sky reflecting the heaviness within. Barricades line the streets, news trucks cluster like steel vultures, and fans with homemade signs jostle for a glimpse of the Browns. The air buzzes with expectation, as if the world itself is holding its breath. Inside, the family enters, exhausted yet composed. Kody looks like a ghost of the man he once presented to the world. Hair unkempt, eyes sunken, his lawyer muttering strategies that fall on deaf ears. The wives, however, present a united front. Christine's eyes blaze with determination. Janelle's jaw is set in stone. Mary's fragile appearance belies a steel core. Robin, pale and trembling, carries the weight of realization and betrayal. The judge takes her seat, her voice commanding the room. We will begin with the presentation of final evidence. A box of documents is brought forward. The prosecutor speaks clearly, each word ringing like a bell. Your Honor, the court has received late-breaking evidence, a forensic audit conducted over the past 48 hours. This audit reveals wire transfers to overseas accounts, hidden transactions through shell corporations, and falsified business expenses. The judge's eyes darken, and she turns to Kody. Is there proof linking Mr. Brown to these transactions? Instantly, screens illuminate the room. Emails, text messages, and even voice memos of Kody discussing the movement of funds appear before the eyes of all. The wives react viscerally. Mary pales, almost collapsing. Robin shakes her head, disbelief etched into her features. Christine's anger simmers into a scornful, dangerous laugh. And Janelle's fists clench with controlled fury. The court's computer forensics expert steps forward, explaining the dummy email accounts, the manipulation, and how Kody coerced Robin into verifying documents without understanding the consequences. Robin quietly breaks down, shame and confusion painting every line of her face. She had been an unwitting pawn, ensnared in a web far larger than she could have imagined. The judge's tone turns to iron. Mr. Brown, do you have anything to say to these findings? Kody rises, but his voice is weak, wavering. I did what I felt I needed to do. The show was ending. The money was running out. I wanted to cover us. The prosecutor interrupts, sharp and unwavering. But you weren't covering anyone but yourself. You lied, manipulated, and betrayed everyone who trusted you. The words hit like hammers, echoing in the stunned silence. The defense is left with little to say. Each alibi, each plea, crumbles against the mountain of proof. The room, heavy with collective scrutiny, allows no sympathy. The judge turns to the wives. If you wish to speak before the court, you may. Christine rises first, her tone slicing through the tension. You took from us, Kody. Not just money, years, memories, trust. You shattered everything. Janelle follows, her voice rasped with years of anguish. I didn't want fame. I wanted honesty, respect, a family. What I received was deception. I attempted to reconcile, to save what was left, but the man I married disappeared behind a mask of control and power. Mary's words are quieter, but no less powerful. I forgive you, but I will never forget. I lost myself, my friends, my voice. I allowed you to manipulate me, to betray my trust. I will not let that continue. Robin, trembling but resolute, meets Kody's gaze. I loved you. I defended you. I let loyalty blind me. I forgive you, but I cannot continue with you. Kody stands frozen, the reality crashing down. The wives, though scarred, emerge as survivors, their voices carving a path through decades of lies. The judge calls the court to order, the verdict ready. Kody Brown is found guilty on counts of fraud, embezzlement, and forgery. Gasps ripple through the room. Tears of relief, anguish, and resignation flow freely. Christine, Janelle, Mary, and Robin stand together, a united front against the man who betrayed them, their strength forged in fire. Kody is led away in handcuffs, the public spectacle of his fall complete. Outside, reporters scramble, social media ignites, and the world witnesses the unmasking of a family that was anything but perfect. But amid the chaos, the wives hold on to one another, battered but unbroken, determined to reclaim their lives and their dignity. As night falls over the courthouse, the women emerge, not as wives defined by a man's deception, but as survivors, ready to face whatever comes next, together. Whatever comes next, together. The sisters stood together, tied not only by the scars of old betrayals, but by a fierce hope that stretched beyond the horizon. The courthouse, emptied now, echoed only with the memory of shouted accusations, sobs, and gasps of shock. Outside, the city seemed unchanged, bustling, indifferent, but within, the air hummed differently. It carried a quiet promise, a subtle electricity that whispered of rebirth. Christine, Janelle, Mary, and Robin leaned on each other, the weight of years, tears, and lost trust pressing down, but also lending a strange, grounding strength. The women spoke in hushed tones, laughter bubbling up unexpectedly, fragile and cautious, like sunlight piercing through storm clouds. For the first time in years, they allowed themselves to imagine a life unshackled from fear, manipulation, and the constant shadow of Kody's control. Their eyes met, and without a word, a vow passed between them. Never again to let shame or fear silence them. Never again to let one person dictate the worth of their lives. The cameras of the world had disappeared for now, leaving behind silence, their first true sanctuary. They laughed tentatively at memories too long buried, allowing themselves to remember that there had once been light in their lives. A summer picnic, children running barefoot across green fields, Kody grilling, his lemonade tasting like bitter deceit yet funny in its own way. They recalled it all. And for one moment, the past felt less like chains and more like a story of survival. That night, Christine's living room became their refuge. Mismatched couches, a scattering of pizza boxes, a bottle of wine passed from hand to hand, their laughter mingling with whispered confessions. Robin admitted her fear of starting over, of rebuilding a life after being complicit, albeit unknowingly, in Kody's schemes. Christine took her hand, steady and resolute. "You can. We all can." Mary smiled softly. "This time we choose for ourselves." Thunder rumbled outside, rain streaking the windows, a cleansing storm, as if the universe itself sanctioned the release of their grief. They spoke late into the night, memories and regrets surfacing, but with each word the old weight lifted just a little. When sleep finally claimed them, it was a tentative, precious surrender. The morning sun filtered through the curtains, warm and forgiving. For the first time, there was no court, no Kody, no looming shadow over their choices. They rose slowly, tentative in their freedom. Christine brewed coffee, the mundane act feeling like liberation. Janelle emerged with a half smile, hair disheveled but spirit lighter than it had been in years. "I slept better last night than I have in ages," she confessed. Mary ignored the incoming messages, choosing instead to anchor herself in the present. Robin lingered longest, eyes puffy but hopeful, apologizing softly to her past for the role she had played. Christine held her close. "The past is behind us. What we do now is ours to write." Breakfast was simple, shared over toast and cereal, a ritual reclaiming normalcy. They discussed therapy, business opportunities, school schedules, and small joys long denied. Robin wanted a day free from judgment to simply be a mother. Christine proposed courses to rebuild skills lost to years of enforced dependency. Mary teased, Janelle pushed forward, and slowly a plan emerged. A tentative blueprint for a life reclaimed from the wreckage. Outside, the media lingered, cameras trained like hawks, but the women no longer played the roles scripted for them. This time, they set boundaries, protected their story, and began using their platform to advocate for women trapped in situations like theirs. Social media erupted, praise mingled with criticism, but they no longer read the commentary. "We know our truth," Janelle reminded them, and each nodded in agreement. In the following weeks, life was a whirlwind of adjustment. Unraveling legal entanglements, managing finances, counseling, and sorting through the emotional debris left by years of manipulation became their daily rhythm. Each setback, each panic, each tear-streaked conversation was met with collective support. No one faced these battles alone anymore. Their children, once witnesses to turmoil, now observed strength, resilience, and laughter returning to their mothers' lives. Christine opened a small bakery, a long-dormant passion, and embraced the rhythm of routine and creation. Janelle developed business plans and financial strategies, building foundations for independence. Mary focused on advocacy and therapy, reaching out to other women in similar situations. Robin, cautious but determined, began selling her handmade jewelry online, discovering skill and confidence she thought lost. Evenings were spent together, their new tradition of communal dinners and honest conversations knitting the bond of sisterhood tighter. They shared victories and losses, consolations and laughter, discovering a rhythm of living that had nothing to do with Kody, television cameras, or public opinion. Slowly, the fractured pieces of their lives began to align into something recognizable: autonomy, choice, and the courage to dream beyond survival. Press conferences came and went. The world watched, but now the women dictated the narrative. They spoke of resilience, independence, and the courage to confront truth. Headlines, news cycles, and social media, once instruments of public scrutiny, became channels to amplify their voices. They taught, they inspired, and in small ways reshaped their corner of the world. Even mundane life became a stage for small victories. Christine's daughter winning a school award, Janelle's son landing a part-time job, Mary's niece joining community projects, Robin mentoring young girls in her neighborhood. Each moment, ordinary and yet extraordinary, stitched new layers of strength into their identities. Months passed. Their business flourished slowly but steadily. Social media engagement, speaking opportunities, interviews, and community work filled their days. Failures occurred, lost orders, miscommunication, financial hiccups. But each misstep was met with collective support, laughter, and the resolve to move forward. Freedom was a daily practice, not a singular event. And yet, even as the world spun on, the shadows of the past lingered, a reminder of lessons learned and pain endured. They met the ghost with courage, using the memory of betrayal to fortify rather than confine. Christine documented their journey online, Janelle taught, Mary advocated, and Robin created. Each action, each choice, each laugh reclaimed territory that Kody had once occupied in their lives. Seasons changed. Spring turned to summer. Backyard barbecues became gatherings of joy, celebration, and shared triumphs. Children played freely, laughter ringing into the night air. The women danced under string lights, unburdened, reclaiming spaces once controlled by fear. Each evening, they circled around the fire pit, sharing stories, visions, and the unspoken agreement that nothing, not betrayal, not public scrutiny, not loss, would ever again define them. And as stars appeared overhead, they understood what freedom truly meant: the power to live, to choose, to grow, to laugh, and to love themselves and each other without apology. This was no longer about fame, cameras, or scripted narratives. This was life. Real, raw, and theirs. Christine looked into the camera one final time, speaking directly, tears glistening not in sadness, but in hard-earned gratitude. If you've followed us this far, thank you. May our story remind you that your voice matters, your choices matter, and your future is yours to write. Start anywhere. Start today. The camera held on their faces, lined with grief, illuminated by hope, and etched with the quiet strength of women who refused to be broken. And as the screen faded to black, the story lingered, not as a tale of betrayal, but as a testament to courage, resilience, and the breathtaking power of reclaiming one's life.